Welcome to Saturday Night Vibe, the progressive news show. Let's be S3. I am your host, Marlon, along with Diaz. Anna Hart is on the way. She's running a little late. And I'm really going to just keep talking because I really need her for this story. Like, really, really need her for this story. But anywho, so while we're speaking, the second hour is Am I the A-Hole Mafia Video of the Week. A positive Foxy's, yeah, that's it. Am I the A-Hole Mafia Video of the Week, and then go straight into Foxy's Video of the Week. This, how's everything going this week?
Doing really good. No major complaints or issues.
I don't have any. Started my new position. It's going.
You like it? Dislike it?
No, I don't dislike it. It's actually right down the middle. It's a doable job. It's very interesting, to say the least. And I'm my own boss, so to speak. So, you know, it's one of them jobs where you get out of it what you put into it. So, you know, can't hate it because you're betting on yourself. You know, like what we were saying on your show, please understand, when you start a business, you are betting on yourself. So there's a lot of things that's going to seem like it's unfair, and some of it is. You know, I'm not naive. Welcome to America. Some of the stuff is not going to be fair, but a lot of it is going to be fair. You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to improvise. It's just something where, you know, when we was talking about it on your show, that sometimes you're going to have to study real hard before you start your business. Study, plan, and that's something that we didn't say on your show, Thiz, that I now wish we should have said. I have a plan. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a plan C. I didn't have a plan D.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't have an exit plan.
Kind of. I think that depends on the person. That's going to really depend on the person and depend on the business. Because I think if you got too many, hey, Anna.
Hey, Anna.
Hey.
I think if you got too many backup plans, then you aren't committed to the primary plan, right? So not to, take over the show, just this real quick part of that with the business thing. That's why it's important to have a business plan. A business plan is a living document. It's not a snapshot in time. It's something that you continue to refine and tweak on, but it needs to have basically what you were saying. Your plan A and your plan B need to be in it because it's all part of your business. And then it also needs to have your plan for if it fails or how you plan to exit, right? So, because you might have investors, you might have lenders, you may have all kinds of things. You got to be able to say up front, here's how we will wind down if this proves to, not just quite work out. But I do think that if you got more than a plan A and a plan B, revisit your plan because you may not be as committed as you think you are to your business.
I guess what I was saying is, and maybe I should have said a plan, but I guess it could be a plan A and a plan B, but it'd be a plan B.1, B.2, because I don't want it to be like when people say plans, it's like they throwing the first plan out the window. And I don't want nobody to think that. I want everybody to think that, okay, you have a plan A. You're working that plan. Now, have a plan for one of those situations to go wrong. Just one a part of it. Not the whole plan A. Don't just throw the whole plan out because your suppliers came through. Okay, that's your plan B. What do you do if you run out of supplies? What do you do if you have a slow month? What do you do? A, B, and C is
That's different from how I took it when you talking about all these different plans.
I know
Because plan when you were saying plans, it's more like how am I going to run my business? Like what business am I going to run? And if my business fails, well, what's my backup plan? Whereas what you're talking about, that's just how you run a business. You know, if you decide you want to sell ice cream, right?
Eventuality.
Yeah, you got to be like, this is just where I pivot within the business. These aren't separate plans. This is just how I run the business. You know, if I run out of ice cream, then I need to be able to, you know, have a membership at Costco so I can go grab more ice cream right quick, or, you know, that type of thing. But those aren't your plans, right? Those aren't your business level plans. Those are your operational plans. But, you know, when I was talking about plan A, plan B from what you were saying, it's more like I sell ice cream. Well, I guess I can sell hot dogs too. I'm gonna have an ice cream cart and I'm gonna have a hot dog cart over here just in case my ice cream business is slow. I'll have my hot dogs. But well, I kind of like washing cars. I mean, I could wash cars, so that'd be my plan C. And like you got all these. Eventually, all you got are a bunch of hustles. you don't have a business anymore. But I'm sorry. That's how I was taking.
I put it this. I mean, I'm agreeing with you exactly, but you just reminded me of a character on one of my favorite shows, Hawaii Five-0. He's an informant, so that's the background of the whole thing. But when he was introduced to the show, he ran a shaved ice shop. He owned a shaved ice shop. Then he owned a shrimp truck. Then he owned a helicopter tour company. All of this is at the same time. It ain't like he went from one job to another. He just added to the empire.
Well, that's nothing wrong with that. Weird combination. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And then he got the last thing he got was the sailboat tour.
Yeah, I'm thinking. So first of all, I don't know nothing about this show because I don't watch these types of shows. But you like I'm already like turned off when you're an informant because you ain't nothing but a paid snitch. So I was like, okay, so now you using the money you getting from snitching to help you build these other businesses. Yeah.
I don't think he was getting paid for it.
No, if you're an informant, you're a paid snitch. Okay. Even if they don't give you dollars in your hand, which they probably do, you're getting paid in other ways. Like they look the other way.
Yeah.
You know, that's my guy, you know.
But
anyway,
let's go get started. Anna, I really, really needed you on this show because this is basically in your wheelhouse. I've been holding on to this for a while now, and I'm like, let me just get rid. This is our last show of the month. We will not be here next weekend. And I understand last week, but I already had it on here last week, and something happened. I understand and everything else. So I'm so glad that you are here this week, so I can get this, whatever this is, out of my show, as in never go to talk about this ever again. But anyway, without further ado, let's get this party started. Also, I'm going to add a little twist to this by playing this. So let's go ahead and get into it. It's a 3-parter. Brocation.
I'm a 42-year-old woman and my husband is 42. My husband has informed me that he intends to go on a gaycation with his 35-year-old brother-in-law in Ibiza. How do I handle this? Hi there. I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but here goes. So, me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living racking up in the UK right now. We have 2 boys, ages 15 and 10, and up until this Sunday, I thought that we had it pretty good. We argue sometimes, of course, but it's never gotten too bad, and we have a pretty decent love life with some exploration, but I won't get into that. Long story short is, on Sunday, just after I dropped our boys off at their friends, my husband asked me if we had the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said yes, and he sat me down, and then got out this printed poster for some sort of orgy, and started explaining to me the concept of a gaycation. Alright, please explain it to me because I never heard this word before. This is where straight men go to somewhere with sun, sand, and booze and become gay for the duration of the trip. But that's fine because it doesn't actually count because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. I was just completely silent and mortified. Even more so when he said that he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, my sister's husband, to experience it for himself. When he finally let me speak, I just said, I need you to be clear with me. Are you gay? Because if yeah, then that's okay, but we need to figure out what happens going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset. I was just stunned. He swore up and down that he's that he's not gay and he's 100% attracted to women. And of course he still loves me and our boys. So I said, well, do you think you're bi, maybe? And he got very defensive, saying how I need to drop the accusations and that this is the beauty of the gaycation. It allows straight men to experience gayness without actually being gay, and how it's like going to an aquarium. And again, he was adamant that he doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this, apparently. I said, well, I'm not really comfortable because even if he was bi, this would explicitly be him cheating on me. And he got angry and reiterated that he's not, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. I just had enough and left the room. I ignored him for the rest of the day, but we spoke at sorry. This is just so British. But we spoke at tea where I asked him again, yo, is that really what British people do? They fight and they don't talk to each other all day, but they're still so British that they have to get together to drink tea? Okay, when I asked him again, why does he want to go so bad if he's not gay? He said he's interested in how gay men's lives differ to straight men's, and that unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist. And he must surrender himself, mind, body, and soul to the gaycation, or he would be destroyed. I really can't put into words how surreal this was, because he was speaking so matter-of-factly. And he again insists that this is a thing that straight men do all the time, and how he's actually doing it a bit late. I just said to him that if he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this, and if he does, the marriage will be dead. We didn't speak anymore after that. Since then, he's mentioned no more of it, but somehow, and this is what scares me a lot too, that decision genuinely seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go to work on Monday because he told them that he just felt too ill, and he looks distraught every time I see him. I really don't think that he's wholly gay though. I can absolutely believe that he's bi. But I'd rather we talked about that in a healthy way rather than this incredibly weird denialism about going on a sex holiday to Ibiza. Has anyone known straight guys to do this and come back and just go back to being straight? Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. I'm so out of my depth here, and I just don't know how to even initiate the conversation. For the record, I also haven't mentioned this to his sister yet. I don't know how I would even break it to her.
Okay, so Anna, is this a thing?
To my knowledge and experience, there is such a thing as a gaycation. And yes, it involves, among other things, straight men not not having sex, but it does, like, somebody is more open to sharing about their life, about, hey, we'll go to brunch over here now, and you'll see that within my community, this is how a morning shapes up. Um, well, part of me doesn't doubt that this goes on somewhere. And then a huge part of me is screaming, why? Yes, people are curious. Yes, they should be able to explore, but they are oppressed in many different, from many different angles, whether family, church, school. It's like I want to take this seriously because it's a serious topic, but to go and immerse yourself in the life of a gay man, I, like I said, I've heard of a gaycation before. Never heard of sex being a thing within this. I may just have not wanted to hear about it, though. I know there are many twisted things that exist out there, what we would consider twisted. Like there's a way to learn about legitimate equality without diving into it. And this whole you get to leave it behind. Oh, sweetheart. How naive. um, there's a lot of, if this is real, that wife has a lot of reasons to be questioning her life right now. I mean, that was a pretty strong, I need to go do the gay, but not be considered gay, okay? Why did you bring this up, Marlon? This,
Oh, don't feel bad. We got 2 more videos.
oh hell. I'm start swearing now because I know I'm not gonna be able to stop.
Do you have anything to say, or you just gonna have that look on your face like, why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here? First of all, but the other part is, dude, you gay. All that extra stuff y'all talking, dude, you gay. Now, where you fall on the spectrum, not my problem. Dude, you gay. Okay? Like, I've heard of vacations. I've heard of, where people who are two single people go on vacation and they do couples things on the vacation, but when the vacation's over, they back to not being a couple no more. I've heard of where they go on vacation and you meet somebody, and because you out of the country, what happens overseas doesn't count. So now, you have a whole relationship while you on vacation, and as soon as you all catch that plane, y'all don't know each other no more. I heard all those things, but those people don't claim to be no longer straight. Right? So, dude, you gay. You know what I'm saying? It's just you basically want to go and test this thing out without having to risk your present relationship. But you have no thought or consideration to the trauma or the turmoil you just put your woman through. Dude, you gay. It's all right. You gay. It took you a while to realize you were gay. That's cool. But don't handcuff her. Go chase your new dream. I don't like the selfishness.
And my take on the whole thing is just remove gaycation, whatever. Remove that from this whole story.
That's the whole story.
No, it's not. No, it is part of it though. Because what's the difference between him saying, I'm going on a gaycation and I'm going on a vacation to do the exact same thing that he said on the gaycation. I'm going to go sleep with other women.
Huge difference.
Because I want to immerse myself into everything else.
Huge difference. Huge difference. If you think it's just a matter of the physical act of sex, then it's all the same. It's just this is gay sex versus straight sex. But that is to ignore the social ramifications, the family structure, the culture that he's operating in, all of those things. That's why they had to make this story about his sexual proclivities and not just him wanting to experience being single again. If it was just about him wanting to be single again, they would have made that the story. But instead, it's just about his sexuality. It's central to the story because he never would have said anything if there wasn't that issue. He just would have been like, hey, man, I'm getting with my brother-in-law. We're going to have a guy's trip. Your point is he could have said guy's trip and went and did the gay thing. But that wouldn't have carried the story the same way.
No,
this is him hopping on the gay cruise.
What I was saying was, I see what you're saying about the gay thing because it does add a layer to it. But he could have said straightforward to it, like,
he wants her permission. That's the whole point.
I cannot remember what the place is. Let's just face the fact. You go to this place just to have sex. Basically, he
wants to have an entire relationship, but he wants to absolve himself of guilt with his wife.
Yes, this is not him going out on vacation and having an indiscretion. This is him going and immersing himself in a different lifestyle altogether and wanting her to not just be okay with it, but to allow him to come back as though it never happened. He has convinced himself that he has an escape clause, but it only works if she agrees with it. And he wants her to agree with it no matter what it does to her. And because she didn't agree with it, now he's all upset. He's selfish.
Yeah.
I agree with that one. Hey, what's up? I'm going to rewind and watch at double speed to catch up with the story. Hey, Parker, welcome.
Have you ever seen that movie where the two straight guys end up on a gay cruise? That's basically what happened.
I never saw that movie. Parker just got back from his brother's bachelor party, so.
Oh.
No, it's too early to be back, Parker. You gotta go back. Gotta go back.
No, that was last week.
Oh,
I hope you had fun.
Okay. Just saying.
Hope you had fun.
If the party's still going, you gotta go back. Gotta go back.
Yeah, oh yeah, bro.
We are not a reason to come home. No.
It's like going to an aquarium. Yeah, that was a big stretch. It's just like going to an aquarium. What you doing to them fish, bro?
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal, because she does explain that, but I didn't put it in the story. But what she was saying is where they live, there's an aquarium. And things, I don't know if you ever been to one. I think I've been to one.
I love aquariums.
I love it. A huge aquarium where the dome is all the way around you. There's a part where you walk all the way through, so you are walking through, and it just feels like you're walking through the ocean because it's just fish all around you and everything like that. You can walk up to the glass and stuff like that.
I've had sharks swim above me.
Yeah. That's what he was trying to explain, like it's being in an aquarium. You are immersing yourself.
So first of all, that's not the same thing, because when you go to the aquarium, you are still in a tube that is isolated from everything else. You're just watching, and you're not in any way immersed in nothing. Okay. This is, he wants to experience the feeling, right, to explore, because basically he's probably in some kind of inner turmoil and he's suppressed himself, and so he wants to know, is this real or am I just kind of thinking something? So he wants to go and test it out, but he can't do it at home because he'll be seen by somebody, and then he'll have to deal with, bro, you gay, right? So instead, let me go over here where there's no rules, no judgment, right? But I can't explain why I'm gone for a week, so I got to tell my wife something, right? so he tells her, and that's where he's at. Like when he wants to be immersed, he wants to be immersed, because this dude says some mess about giving yourself up, mind, body, and soul. That means you about to get down for the freaky deaky, okay? So you either on the top or the bottom, whatever the situation is, however the relationship works. But you are not just talking about, hey, I want to go out to the gay bar and I'll drink a few cosmopolitans or something like that, and listen to the music. I like EDM or something like that. Yeah, you're not saying that, bro. That's not what you're saying. And you are putting your wife through this, and you can't, in your imagination, she had a different line in your script. But when it was time to be played out, she didn't follow that script. And so now you freaking out.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the second part of the story. Let's go ahead and continue with Brocation.
And then one day later, OP posted an update. So after I posted, I contacted my husband to tell him that he would not be staying at home tonight and a bag would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued quite badly. I won't go into specific details, but now I'm 100% on board with the fact that at minimum he's bi, and he might even just be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him have such a childish tantrum before, screaming about how I just don't understand the gaycation. I absolutely despise that phrase now. And he's insinuating that I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. A lot of you said to ask him if it'd be acceptable if the roles were in reverse. And I said, would it be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week? And like clockwork, he was very angry and offended, saying that it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing, and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, so it doesn't actually count. Whereas I would just be straight up cheating. Emphasis on the word straight. Well, I turned that around on him. No, but you see, what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. And I think I got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting the thoughts of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart. But relationships need sacrifices. So he agreed, while in tears, that when he goes on the gaycation, I'll get one week in Manchester to do whatever I want. He doesn't want to, but that's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. I know it's incredibly petty, but I also drained the joint bank account, which is legal in the UK, so he couldn't try to use it against me. About an hour later, I got rang up by his mom, my mother-in-law, who just screamed and screamed at me about being a cheating whore, how I was horrible, what about the kids, etc. I'm sorry, this post is really funny. When I finally got my composure back, I just said, ask your son about the gaycation. Obviously, at first, she got angry, but I said, no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain. But she called me an effing joke and hung up. Later on in the evening, I got another phone call from her in a flood of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset that she put my father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I could just tell that he was on a warpath. Again, he was very apologetic and said that he overheard the phrase gaycation. And he asked my husband, and my husband initially said, no, it's nothing, before explaining that it's a modern thing that men do. And he gave he gave them the same spiel about how what happens on the gaycation, men can't resist the gaycation, and how a man must surrender to the gaycation. Father-in-law just told him to leave or he'd call the cops. He didn't care where my husband went, but he wasn't staying there. My husband tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it, and my father-in-law just said that he was so sorry for me, and they have my corner in this. But I told them to also be there for their daughter because it sounds like my brother-in-law is involved. My husband didn't tell them that. And my father-in-law just said that he had to go because he was so angry. I got a text from my husband after the phone call, which was weirdly rambly, saying about how I'd abused the vacation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. And again, he insinuated that I and his parents were homophobic for doing such a thing. I told him that we'll talk when he grows up, and I blocked his number. I took a day off work myself to have the locks changed this morning, so that's 500 pounds gone, but whatever. At least I know that he won't be coming back. I'm going to look into how to proceed with the divorce, and then we'll move from there.
Yo, for real, man, this is so funny. This isn't homophobic. This is you violated your relationship, and then you continued on that path. That's what this is. The gay part didn't help. I promise you it didn't help. But that ain't what this is about. Okay? You violated your wife's trust. You violated your wife's security in her marriage, and then acted like you were the victim when you're the one who brought this into her world. She did not sign up to be married to a gay man. She did not sign up to be married to a bi man. She signed up to be married to a straight man. You are changing the terms of the agreement. She is not on board with that change. Therefore, you're the one that's wrong, not her. You're not wrong for being who you are. You're wrong for not acknowledging who you are, not owning who you are, and then expecting everybody else to make moves to accommodate who you are. So, marriage over, that's one of the consequences of wanting to go on the gaycation, bro. That's the consequence. All right. So now go be a fully functioning, happy gay man who is a loving father to his children. That's what you do now. That was your choice. And then the parents, I don't know, maybe the parents, because they're from a different generation, they do have some gay issues, but I don't even think that's the issue. Is you got us out here mad at your wife when you the knucklehead. You're the knucklehead, and then you're gonna talk to me like I'm crazy, talking about, well, father, you just have to understand the gaycation. It's what modern men do. No, it's what you do, son. That's not what modern.
I mean, he was afraid to bring that up to his parents at all. That's why he's saying you destroyed my life. And it does play in the back of my mind that, you know, kicked out. I mean, would you have kicked him out just for cheating?
I would have.
Yeah.
But I'm different. I know,
Your
but I'm
child?
saying, like, yes, my grown child. My
Yep.
grown child
Yep.
just abandoned his family. Okay, because he foisted this on his wife and his children. So that's a major strike. Then you came over here painting a story to have us upset with her.
That's the
you
part.
the one. That's
That
another strike. Now
Yes.
that all this surrounds behind you being gay or wrestling with your sexual identity, depending upon the parent. This is why I'm saying the parents from a different generation. So that parent, that's probably the third strike. But those first two, those are the big ones. Because the dad who is, you know, like real regular dads, it's like, no, man, you don't ever jeopardize your family, son. You don't do that. And then you're gonna put my wife in the middle of this. So
you
yeah,
could have easily went over there and just said, we just had a big fight. I just need to come over here, cool down a little bit. No, you went straight to making your wife the victim.
yeah, she was a villain for your story. Yeah, no.
By the way, you lied 2.5 times. Be honest with you, because you tried to slide that thing in. You lied 2.5 times. That she was a cheater, because she was the cheater. Then you found out that was a lie. Then when they asked you, son, what's the brocation? Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's nothing. It's no big deal.
It's just what modern men do.
You literally made it a huge deal less than 24 hours ago, to the point where she said, I'm not comfortable with this. And instead of you letting it go, you moped around the house. You was literally devastated for the fact that you couldn't go. Devastated. But it wasn't no big deal when your parents asked you about it.
Yeah, the thing I would get at with this, and it's like, and just to kind of go at what you were asking, Anna, I would like to say that I wouldn't tell my son to leave. I would like to. Now, if my teenage son comes to me and says that he's gay or he's whatever he's wrestling with, then nah, that's my baby. That's what it is. Let's work and figure it out. It's either a phase or it's your reality. Either way, it doesn't matter because you're still my kid. It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? This is a grown child, still my child, grown child. Right. So you have options. When I put you out this house, it's not like you got to go be homeless somewhere. Okay. I'm putting you out because I'm so angry with you. I'm seeing red. And there's nothing that's going to be constructive about me and you being under this roof right now. Because speaking for myself now, putting myself in this story, I am very protective over my wife. Very. So you upset her, you have upset me because I got to deal with her, right? So there's that element too. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think that part was an overreach to kick him out, but I understand how it can happen. And then the wife, here's my gripe with her: she ain't have to drain that bank account. Why? Take half the money, or take whatever you know is critical, right? It might be a little bit more than half because let's say the mortgage is coming due, right? But you don't leave him destitute. That's his money too. So I never like when people do that. When they drain the account like that. And can you do it legally? Yeah, he could have done it too. But I don't think that's right.
So okay, I would almost like to hear the parents' part again. I was left with the impression of, oh wow, like it seems like you're more upset that your son is gay than the fact that he just pulled all of this.
No, I think they were more upset about the gay. I do. the way the story was told, I think his parents were more upset about the gay. But
That's what I'm saying.
But the other parts are still valid. You set your mom up to be a fool.
Oh
You
yeah.
lied to us in my own. You came in my house and lied to us. These are really important aspects. But I think for the parents,
Yes.
so I kept saying they're from a different generation. For the parents, I think the gay thing hits real hard. I think it hits real hard.
Let me put a spin on it. Let me put a spin on it then. And you just correct me if I'm wrong. Is it the gay part of the whole situation, or is the fact that the gay part is coming out now after he has established a family of his own?
I think that would be for the wife.
Because it was like, Theus, when you were saying, if your son came out as a teenager and says, I'm gay, I can't speak for the parents, but what if the parents would have been the same thing? Okay, I'm okay with this. You're my son and I still love you. We worked it out, and now just by everything else, but you're going your whole life as a straight man who got married, had kids, and now you want to come out and say that you're gay.
So the less elevated version of myself would say to you everything you just said. The version of me that exists before you today would say he could be going through a midlife crisis. He could be going through an identity crisis. This could have been something that was 10% on his mind, and it's blossomed and it's grown over the years. And so now he's wrestling with it. I'm saying that could be a very true reality for this man. I say that he thinks that this is a way for him to filter out, is this a fetish or is this who I am? And he's trying to figure that out, but he is trapped by his circumstances because he has always lived his life as a straight man, because he has always been a straight man. It's not that he's been masquerading as a straight man when he was gay. It's just that he was a straight man who had gay interests or tendencies. Two different things, right? So he's wrestling with this, but he's trapped by his world. He's already married. He already has kids. He already has social standing. He already has a relationship with his parents. He has all these things are already there. These are like weights and chains on a person that wants to do something else. So he's trying to figure out, how do I, because if I'm not, for him, right? If I'm not gay, then when I come home, everything can continue on its path. Right? That's what he's trying to rationalize, right? Yep. He's not facing the reality of the fact that you go. I don't care if you go and never leave your room. You can order in room service the whole time. You can never see another gay guy the whole time you're on vacation. The fact that you go has set everything else in motion. So if it's that important to you, understand what you're risking and then go do that. But don't and now I'm speaking as the wife, don't ask for my permission to hurt me. I'm not going to give you my permission to hurt me. And that's where these two are at odds. He's like, look, baby, I just want to do this. And you know what I'm saying? And, you know, if I'm gay, then I'm gay. But if I'm not, I'm not. And I don't think I'm gay. You know what I'm saying? So when I get back, we go to Disneyland. And she's like, hey, you just flipped up my whole world. Like, you legit not the same person that I saw yesterday. So, yeah, that's how I would put it, man. It's like, you know, the elevated version of myself today, I would handle it different. But at the end of the day, the old version of me and the current version of me still end up in the same place. You got no right to do this to your woman. No. And if this is what you want to do, you need to let her make her decision for her life. Just like you want permission to make a decision for your life, she deserves the right to make a decision for her life. And what you're afraid of is that the decision she makes for her life will inconvenience your life. So you want to deprive her of her decision. That's not right.
All right, everybody, last video, and Just back up, but just a little bit off of the husband. Well, actually, we are still talking about the husband. We're just going to go to the brother-in-law. Remember him?
Oh, and of course there's also the brother-in-law. So I haven't yet met with my sister-in-law. We're going to maybe try tomorrow, but we did talk over the phone, and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband, where she put the phone on speaker and I went on mute. Her husband got home earlier. She made him come home, told him there was an emergency, and just said to him, "Can you please explain to me what a gaycation is?" She told me afterwards that she was praying that he would look confused or just be like, "What?" or anything like that. But instead, he just sat her down and explained that a gaycation is a new thing where straight men go to gay hotspots and participate in gay sex acts, but it doesn't count because there's no investment, and because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. He said... He said that it's like writing down angry thoughts and putting them in a drawer. You never have to see them again. Yo, these analogies are killing me. The whole time, my sister-in-law is in tears as he just calmly bats off the same points that my husband did about how it doesn't count, and he even did the whole "it's impossible to resist" thing. You must surrender or be destroyed. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Are there even gay male dominatrixes? Because surely neither of them are that into this to actually make this up on their own. I really don't want to go into what was discussed, but it did become very apparent to me that my brother-in-law is into, sissy hypno adult videos, and at times conflated that with the concept of a gaycation. There was this utterly surreal moment where my sister-in-law was just trying to wrap her head around this while also in a flood of tears. And he explains so genuinely, so matter-of-factly, that for most men, the gaycation is either a one-time or an annual thing. But then some men go on gaycation for years, and others simply never return, because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized into a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. My sister-in-law said in disbelief, "Surely, if you're taking it up the butt willingly because you want to, that makes you gay." And he said, "No, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. You can do all this gay stuff, but you don't interact with the wider gay life experience." She asked him if what the sissy stuff is what he wanted, and he said, "Not on a long-term basis," and was adamant that this is something that all straight men do, but she wouldn't get it because she's a woman. There were more insinuations of homophobia. Well, that marriage is dead too, I suppose. The whole ordeal ended when she said to him that he had a choice to make, and he said, no. He doesn't need to make this choice because the beauty of the gaycation is that it allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. She said, that's not the choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night or she is. The only good thing that came of this is that he did leave. Me and my sister-in-law spoke about it after that, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand that she's gone to her parents for support. What exactly did we do to have our lives destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, embarrassing way?
You're muted. You're muted.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is I don't like how the third video was so laden with trigger language meant to demean that community. I don't like that. I just, that part, it was like, is this, if you took it all in a 3-part, just moving it straight through, like you didn't break it up, then I would take this more as a subtle hit piece, like what white nationalists do to portray like black hate, or sexists do to portray women hate. It's written in such a way that it can slide under the radar as something else, but the message that it's really trying to put in is an attack on being gay, right? That's how the whole third video, like, it was just stuffed with it, which made me think of the first 2 videos where you start picking up breadcrumbs on how it brought us to this, right? Yep. Because it went from, wow, this is a really tragic family story, to this is making it a little hard to believe, because you're telling me it's not just the brother, it's the other brother too. So now we got two brothers. Okay. So that you're straining credulity at this point. But then the third one just ties it all together, and you're like, wait a minute. And then here's the part that really undergirds a lot of this. It was like they were sitting down listening to a traveling salesman, and they all had brochures. So it was way too structured. The third part broke the whole thing for me. But that's my take.
So now you don't think it was real?
I don't think that it was real. I think that it very could be real. I think that there are families who go through these things. I think that there are absolutely gaycations. I don't know if they're called gaycations, but I'm sure that they are called gaycations. But you got vacations and all these other excuses to betray the person you're supposed to be with. Right? That's all this is how do we package an allowance system for me to betray the person I'm not supposed to be betraying the trust of, right? And in a vacation, that's usually two single people who go do this thing and live a fantasy world, but it's also two married people or one married person and a non-married person, and they do that. All it is just packaging. That's just packaging. I don't think it's real because of the wave of subtle hate. Like, it wasn't overt hate. That's the thing. If it was overt hate, then I could be like, oh, they were just being hateful. But the way that it was woven so smoothly into it, and then you capstone it with this great finale, that's when it becomes so structured that I'm like, nah, this had an ulterior motive. And that's where I would land on that it's fake.
I do agree with that. For all Cadence reasons that you just laid out, for them to, I wish I had my notebook so I could have written them down. This is the sort of story that a person on the far right will try to bring to a centrist and try to explain about the decaying of the traditional family. It's very propagandistic, and oh, I'm sorry, I just heard. That was weird. I just heard something in my ears.
Yeah, there was a quick echo. I don't know where it came from.
Agent Johnson. So continue.
Agent Johnson. Hey, just like I recognized there was something in that it was meant to hit in such a way that I and my people would feel just a bit demoralized and dehumanized in the eyes of others. Because, not only are there guys who are betraying their families, but look, there are these gaycation things, and who puts those on? And, it's just, it was too smooth at one point to the things that the person would fit in. Like, okay, what was the actual context that anal instead of annual was said?
Yeah, he
That
did
was
that to be slick. He was being like it was funny.
that was Dabness being funny.
That was okay. That was him.
Yeah.
Okay, not appreciated. There was a point when my stomach started to tighten, and I'm like, oh, don't like that, don't like that. And then I come to realize, okay, I know this feeling. It is meant to demoralize, dehumanize, and confuse me. And so I, then just immediately, pushed it aside as propaganda, because this does happen in real life. People do change in all kinds of different age ranges, in all kinds of I want to say speeds. Like some no. Others are really confused because, well, then who were they for all this time before? All good questions. You have a partner. If you have a partner in this situation, you do owe it to the person to be as open as possible. And by a partner, I mean you're married with somebody. You've got kids. You've got mortgages. You've got things that legally tie you together, that spiritually tie you together. It is not simple by any means, and a lot of people, ask themselves, is this even something that I should follow? And there are lots of people that will suppress because they're like, I rolled this dice. And why would I go and hurt my family that way? Like, all these different ranges are out there, and there was a much kinder way to bring up to your wedded spouse that things are changing. You do owe it to your spouse to say things are changing. Otherwise, they don't know where the hell to respond from. That's unfair. That is wholly unfair. Yeah, I'm gonna say no on this for the language, for the subtle jabs that it was trying to take. No. But I don't want to make light of the situation. It does happen.
Now, the case I could make for it being real is the last part was all about the sister. So her perspective and input had not been used throughout the story. So much of the worst language was reserved for her, and that could be how she truly feels. But they use some oddly specific terminology that, like I was saying in my comment, it will bring the conservative mind and activate the fears that they have that homosexuality is a grooming and a recruitment thing and not an identity thing. So it was like there's someone who can come to your husband and recruit them and convince them that they need to be gay, and don't let them near your children, and it's gonna be in the music, and like that's all those are
Yeah.
the pain points that it was touching, right?
Mhm.
Hypno, homosexual, whatever it was, they sit there and they'll brainwash you, and you were straight before you got there, and now when you leave, now you're hyper feminine. It was that stuff. It was that if it was about race, I would say it was racist, right? It was that type of thing. I don't call it homophobic because I don't think the term homophobic makes a lot of sense. People ain't scared of gay people, okay? What they are, they're hateful towards gay people, but they ain't scared of them, right? So
Yes.
there's just not a term that's been developed that's caught on for that other than bigotry, I guess. But that's where it's like it could be real if you stretch realness to allow for the sister-in-law being just very outwardly homophobic, and you had the audacity to hide this from me. How long you been hiding this from me, Bill? And then it just kind of went from there. But when I take all three together, that puts me in this isn't real, it's propaganda, and it's meant to target a community. Because if you know much about white supremacist tactics, they don't just come right at you and start saying, I hate the Jewish people, I hate the black people, I hate. No, they walk you into it. They desensitize you to targeting a certain group or seeing a different group a different way. And then once you've gotten deep enough, now they can hit you hard, right? So I would say this is what that smacks of to me.
All right, everybody, that is our first hour, and I'm not going to give a commentary on it because I thought the name was fake from the beginning. It was too rehearsed to me, but like I said, I don't want to give a commentary. Okay, the whole thing. I'm sorry, Em.
I'm sorry. Just Mama Hart just walked in, wanted to share a headline. The U.S. has attacked 3 Iranian nuclear sites. Trump has admitted to this, and yeah, we go into
Here
war.
we go.
Yeah, that's it. Before I went on the air, I did see that the United States did move their U-boats closer.
And their B-52s,
We
and
moved 3 out of 4 of our naval strike groups into the area. I mean, it was gonna happen. This isn't a mystery whatsoever. It was just Trump was buying time to get as many troops out of the way as possible, and his ships were too far away, so he wanted them in. This is where we at. But hey, you know what? And I'm sorry, I gotta do this to you guys. All you guys out there in La La Land, they're both the same. Now, to be fair, both parties probably would have had us at war. The difference is, I don't think BB would have been as bold if it was Kamala sitting there, because she wouldn't have greenlit everything. But ultimately, America's going to follow Israel wherever it goes. So we could have very well ended up in basically the same spot. But this world is not what it would have been. I'm confident it's not what it would have been. But I mean, hey, here we are, guys. I was talking to my wife about this earlier, and in a dark way. It's all bad. Let's go put it. It's all bad. But in a dark way, this could make a lot of the stuff we're dealing with domestically ease up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the focus is going to be on global issues now. It could ease up on the immigration thing. It could ease up on what's about to come to the black community. that could be stalled out, and so we can make it through this dude's presidency before it gets way worse domestically. But the economy is about to get slaughtered because ain't no trade coming. China then already told China, Russia, and India all said, and Pakistan all said, don't do this. And China and India are two partners we need for our trade that's already strained. Ain't nothing coming now. Okay. This is World War II flipped on its head, but it's World War II flipped on its head, except now the axis of evil is the US and Israel. And the quote unquote victims of World War II are now the perpetrators of this war. Everybody doesn't learn the same lessons.
No. I'm sure we will be further into this tomorrow, right, Marlon?
Oh, yeah. And
but how do you go back to just, and then who had the worst goldfish? It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it because it's going to be bleak tomorrow.
Ain't nothing bleak about it, bro. This is where we're at.
Well, here's the deal. Since we're already over, I'm just going to say what I wanted to say anyway. I'm surprised it took this long. Like this, I know what you're saying, moving everything in place, like a chess piece and everything else. I'm not lying to you. Surprised it took as long as it did. I really am. I'm really surprised that it took as long as 2 Iran attacks for this all to happen. My assumption was it was going to happen after the first Iran attack. My assumption was it was going to happen after the first retaliation. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think. I knew this was coming, but I mean, I knew this was coming as soon as Israel decided to attack Iran.
Right.
Because at that point, there was no other choice. Iran can't fight. I mean, Israel can't fight Iran. It's just not. It can't do it. It's too far away to use its land troops. It's already in 3 or 4 other countries. It started this war with the intention of America fighting it for it. Right? That's 100% the plan. They didn't expect to take the beating that they've taken, which is why the timescale moved up on when America had to come and get involved. But this was always the plan. Always the plan. So this what this is what America is, man. And then we're looking at talking about old boy in his first administration said he wanted to use the big weapons, and he couldn't understand why he wasn't allowed to. So now he got an opportunity to play general. He had his pretend parade that didn't go so well, but now he's still the general. So he gets to play general, and he gets to put his pieces on the board, and he gets to watch things happen. And this is where we go. This is just where we go. And Iran can't fight Israel directly. It sure enough can't fight America. But Iran is 4 times, for those who don't know, Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq. Afghanistan was able to beat us. We're not winning in Iran. So what we gonna do? Who's sending the ground troops in? Because you can't do this all in the air, right? So this is going to evolve. It's going to get really messy. And if Israel or America decides to go nuclear, it's already been pledged in the UN Council today. You go nuclear, we go nuclear. So, right? Russia and Pakistan were like, yo, you go, we go. So this is all bad. It's all bad. But hey, y'all, you didn't want to vote. You couldn't bring yourselves to vote, right? This ain't even an attack on us because the third parties, they always want to hide. They want to hide. They want to go get themselves in their little glass house and they want to hide and say, well, if you added us all up, we still couldn't have won the election. That's not the point. You added with the rest of the people who decided that they was going to sit it out. Y'all one and the same. Y'all the same people. Okay. That would have swung the election. It didn't. We are where we are. And now you got MAGA who's mad. You got Democrats mad. You got independents mad. But it doesn't matter because you have a mad king. So I'm worried about where this thing goes. I just economically, I think it's going to be massive chaos for us here in America. Massive chaos. We're talking about the layoffs are going to increase.
Food insecurity is going to grow.
Yep, we're going to have a massive. Oh, you think the police state is crazy now? It's about to go berserk, right? You have no privacy. Whatever privacy, what little bits we had left, that's done. Because here's what's going to happen. Mark my words. They're going to say that the borders have been unsecured for the last 4 years. And we don't know who all is in the country. And so Iran has people all in this country who are sleeper cells just waiting to be activated. So in order to protect the people, we have to install a form of martial law. It's not going to be actual martial law, wink, wink, but it's a form of martial law. So we're going to have to tap into everyone's social media, everyone's cell phones. We're going to have to make sure that all the cameras are being properly utilized by the Department of Homeland Security. We're going to have to deputize ICE to expand their mandate. We're going to have to put the troops back out there in the blue states and the blue cities because those are the ones that are harboring terrorists. And this is what's next, y'all. Mark my words. I bet you I'm right.
From Donald Trump on True Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran's airspace. A full payload of bombs are dropping on the primary sites, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have had done this. Now is the time for peace.
Right. These people are berserk. These people are berserk, man.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Israel attacked Iran, then America said, hey guys, it's time for peace now.
Ooh.
Iran was like, wait a minute. You just hit me. You helped them hit me. Now this happens, and in Trump's mind, because we've watched this in many other variations, in Trump's mind, the fact that I just hit you should make you back down.
Yep.
In his mind, that's what this is.
To be a strong man.
To fight back, and they will. And because they'll fight back, and because they can't fight directly, there will be proxy fights popping off. The Houthis already said that they are in this, right? Yeah. And China might not do nothing like they said. China said they were going to do something, but they might not do anything. Russia really can't do anything. Pakistan, they're waiting on a nuke. But there will be pop-up events all around the globe. Right, Parker. Like, you called me to a peace negotiation just so you knew where my people were.
Sorry, what is Parker saying?
Israel attacked them in the middle of a negotiation about nuclear talk between Iran and the U.S.
And you know what's another thing that's wild, guys? Mm-hmm. There's a non-proliferation treaty. Okay. Iran signed on to it. Mm-hmm. Most of the other major nations signed on to it. Israel refused to. Mm-hmm. The IAEA, which inspects nuclear sites. The ones that they're saying that Iran was doing what they said, but they weren't really, right? Israel refuses to be a part of it. So the nation that refuses to be monitored or curtailed is saying the nation that has the most transparency is lying. Because when you are a liar, you can't believe anybody else is honest. So Israel's like, yo, we know we lying, so there ain't no way Iran's telling the truth, despite the fact that you got the most visibility in Iran in any other country on this planet.
All right, everybody, let me cut this short because I want to go ahead and continue the show because apparently I'm going to be up a little later than normal doing research tonight, and then
I'll be
get up as early as I can to get up and get more research because I like to give every story at least a good 24 hours to break.
I was just curious on what we dropped specifically because we are nervous about nuclear war. It was the bunker buster bomb that was dropped.
Yeah, they haven't gone nuclear yet. I mean, I haven't even watched it, but I know they wouldn't have done that yet because they don't want the next part. But it's still on the table because that's how Trump thinks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Marlon. Go ahead and take us off the air so we can come back and discuss other things.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. 3-minute break to reboot and refresh, and we'll see everybody on the other side. Stay tuned.
Living for weekends, wishing I could take a break from this world. Running on a hamster wheel, but searching for something I can't feel. I just wanna be a lost girl and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate above the ground and make eye contact with clouds. Now I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, I wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free, finally. I always stay dreaming, never imagined I lose my spark. Living in this crazy time, putting back the pieces of my mind. I know how to run from the dark and fly. Take a breath, feel my wings spread, levitate into the clouds. I'm so high above the ground, I'm rising, I'm soaring above it all. I just wanna be free, finally, I wanna be free,
Well, that's interesting.
Really? Hi, everyone.
We are back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and pay those bills. Radical Truth to Power tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guess what we're going to talk about tomorrow? Please do not forget to go to patreon.com/Tracy Media Fan. Help support Tracy and all of her endeavors. Please do not forget to go to Anna Hall's website, BorelliEssential.com. Learn something that you didn't think you need to know, but you should. Please do not forget to go to Thea's YouTube website, Complex Mind Simple Man on YouTube. Help support him and all his endeavors. And if you need to reach me, you can do so at radtp@outlook.com. That's RADTP@outlook.com. And let's go ahead and get into the Mama Heart Hour. Now, let me say this real quick, because I don't want to seem like I'm just being more interested in anything but what just happened. I just know there's always more news that come out as time goes on, and I like to flush everything out. I've never been that person who'd be so happy and gung-ho to be the first to report something. I want stuff to flush out. I want all the information. And luckily, for the love of God, I got two people who are immersed in this enough to keep the conversation going. I'm not one of them. I just know what I know, and I want to learn more. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm also the one sitting up at night watching the bombs go over and over and over, the kills and everything else. Yeah, that's one of me that's doing that. So I do know what's semi is happening. But the nooks and cranny about it, I'm just the person who likes to just sit there and wait until all the news come out so I can get it all in together, and then we can all discuss it. I know I'm going to lose some viewerships because, as Parker just said, Trump is calling on at 10 o'clock to make some type of announcement. That ain't going to be me watching, but then again, I never like watching a man talk anyway, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's what I'm saying. I do not want anybody to think I'm trying to get through the show so we can get to the funny Reddit stories or the raging Reddit stories and everything else. It's just the fact that I've never been that person who likes to, I got to get the information out as quick as I possibly can to be the first one out there and everything else with half information. So tomorrow, don't even worry about it. I'm actually going to do the thumbnail, which again, I'm probably not even going to wait until tomorrow. I mean, I probably am going to wait till tomorrow because that's when all the other pictures come out. So anyway, I just want to make that point that I'm not just overlooking this stuff. And again, I'm lucky to have two people on here who has the international news and the national news and combine the two. I just want to be able to get the information myself so I could be able to hold my own in the conversation instead of sitting over here on the side as the host going.
Sorry.
I
said.
That's interesting. You know, I want to be a part of the conversation too. I want to be in it too, instead of just be over here nodding like, "Wow, I didn't know that." So,
You are very rarely outside of the conversation.
It was some. I was very that last story. I was outside the conversation. I was loving it. I was just listening, but I hardly said anything. Because what I was trying to explain earlier before the news came out was I thought the story was gay because it was the whole explaining of the place was just too smooth for me. It was just too orchestrated. It was too brochurist. Like, let me read from the script real quick because we got to be on the same page as my brother and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay. But again, for every story out there is a story because they could always put in a little truth. So it's a possibility. Even if this is not a real story. You know, CSI, CSI, something about ripped from the headlines and everything else. That's a fictional show, but they take it from real life. So I know you don't know CS. Oh, not CSI. SBU? SBU. Something like that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the transition. So
I didn't either. I'm sorry.
My point is, some of the stories that we hear on here that we know is fake, some of them come from real life experience and they just doctor it up a lot, and some people just take it too far. But anyway, so see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And am I the a-hole? Let's go ahead and get into a good one. He can't hear you.
I'm a 36-year-old woman who has a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. Their father, who's 43, passed away after a long struggle with cancer 3 weeks ago. His death was expected, and the kids knew their dad was very sick, but still, I couldn't get them ready to handle this kind of event. Their mental and physical health is my #1 priority, and I want them to grieve their dad properly. My current husband, who's 37, saw no need for the kids to attend the funeral after I said they were going with me. What? He said they're still young, but I said they have every right to be there for the final goodbye. He suggested he would go with us then, and I wasn't sure about it, but I contacted my former in-laws and they said it was fine. My husband drove us to the funeral and kept making comments to the kids, telling them how to behave, which was uncalled for. We got there, and I brought the kids to stand next to their grandparents, while my husband kept introducing himself to strangers, then went to stand next to the kids. I was standing from a distance, but I could hear the kids crying. I then started hearing my husband telling them to quiet down repeatedly. Not gonna lie, I felt bothered, wishing that he would stop. While the kids were crying, he loudly said, "Stop crying. There's really no need for this. It's not like he can hear you." And the kids just started sobbing at this point. I was stunned. I looked over and I saw my in-law staring at me. I felt horrible. I walked up to him and I whispered that I needed a minute with him. I made sure that we were far enough away and I lost my temper asking what he was doing. He said that he was just trying to comfort the kids and help them get a hold of their emotions. I told him that what he said was horrible and that everyone heard it. He tried to argue that he was just trying to help, but I said that he had no right to tell the kids how to grieve their father, and I demanded that he leave the funeral, but he threw a fit and said that I was overreacting. I insisted, and he left afterwards. After the funeral, the kids started avoiding me. They wanted to stay with their aunt, and I went home by myself and found my husband there waiting with an angry look on his face. He picked an argument, saying that I shouldn't have kicked him out of the funeral after he came to support me and the kids. But I told him that what he said made the kids refuse to even come home with me. He said that the kids are using him as an outlet for their anger after he's been generous with his time and effort. And this is how we repay him? By making him out to be the bad guy? I refused to keep going, but he kept pushing for an apology after this blatant disrespect that I showed him. For more details, my husband has never had a good relationship with my children's father. I was confused when he said that he wanted to come to the funeral, but I thought that he did it for the kids.
hey,
Oh, this?
Ooh. Hi.
You going?
go ahead and say that.
I'm going to go last on this one because I have
I'm
had
going to reduce myself a little more. More. Yes.
there you
Yes.
go.
We have reduced.
Beautiful.
Yes. So, hey, on this one here, folks, I would say controversial take. She knew who the hell she was married to. And this one's a lot of this is on her. Gotta put that out there. You know you married an asshole. Why did you marry an asshole? Like this isn't something that just manifests, right? A person who can be this callous towards someone dying, there are signs. Sorry, there are. Now, from there, all on him. Because he's being a straight up, male appendage, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, once again, I'm looking right at the wife, man. I'm like, we gotta stop letting people off the hook for choosing downright. How many stories we gotta listen to where the dude is morally broken? The guy is like emotionally, morally, structurally broken. Okay. There are animosities that people have with people's exes. Even if they never interact with their exes, they have these things because it's actually jealousy and discomfort and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, you'll never get away from that. That's the human condition. It is what that is. But this guy has no emotional IQ. He has no effective filter, and he's intentionally gross. The kids are crying. Okay, there's a part of me that was listening to it like, okay, well, maybe he's trying to just kind of shush him a little bit out of decorum, right? Because you're at a solemn thing. Hey, don't do that, right? Just bring it down, right? But this is their dad. Like literally anything that they do is 100% okay as long as they're not trying to run up to the casket and jump in it. Okay, so your job, living dad, is to understand that for this day, what in the world? I don't know. I turned off the motion thing and it did it anyway. But for this day, it's just not about you. It's not about you. And no matter how you feel less than or anything like that, this ain't for you. But there you go.
Anna?
I stopped right at the point where you're questioning whether you would want your husband to come to the funeral. So you knew, just as Thea said, you knew that this was going to bring about problems. And yeah, from that point on, it's like, yeah, he was a jerk, but you knew. And you're married to him, and you let him come and ruin the kids' not only evening but healing and so much more. Yeah, this is messed up in all kinds of ways. So I more or less 100% agree with this. And Marlon, what did you think?
Okay. I'm going to combine what everybody said, but I'm going to go back a little bit and give you a little bit of reality, OP. One, and I'm just speaking for myself. When I got home, he was mad and tried to pick a fight with me. Now I'm going to speak for myself. You ain't got to pick a damn fight with me. Because me, I'd have been coming in that house still blazing. You ain't got to pick a fight with me. Because we're going to have it out one way or the other. Do you understand how terrible of a human being? Not husband. Husband is the title. Human being. If you wasn't married, you would have been a horrible human being. Do you know how horrible of a human being you have to be where the kids don't even want to be in your presence anymore in their house with their mother, their only living biological parent? And they despise you so much, they don't even want to come home anymore. I don't know how long. You didn't have to go. You wanted to go to control the narrative. You seem like that type of person. You didn't like the guy because of whatever. I don't care. Jealousy, envy, whatever. I never understood people like you. Never did understand people like you who has to bully somebody to love you, who has to bully somebody to respect you. Hell, to bully somebody to even like you. But the fact that you have to do this to a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old who just lost their father. And you gonna go to a funeral and act a fool. Now, there is an underlying reasoning why those kids don't want to come back. The first main reason is you, the step monster that's there in the house that just made their terrible experience worse. But now, to tie everything back in, but mom, you married him. And if you want me to believe that this is just the worst thing he's ever done, or this is the bad thing that, no, this is just another notch. And I'm going to tell you why I know it's another notch, because something so subtle that you said when you came in. You said, I came in and he was mad and he picked a fight with me. You know what that sounds like to me? You just going to walk your happy ass to the house and forget the whole damn situation. Because you already got him to leave. So you think the situation is over with. How many other situations have you done that to? How many situations have you just slid to the side because it's over now? It's in the past. We talked it out and I was done. He said he's sorry. You married this man, Mom. And you expect me and my sister to stay with him and think it's going to get better. I'm trying my best to make you understand, OP. The only reason those kids are going back to their house is because they're legally obligated to. Do you hear how that sounds? Do you know how bad that sounds? The only reason those kids will be coming back into your house is because they are legally obligated to do so. It is not a free will. And you created this. So, let me see. 12 and 19, so 12. In 6 years, I suspect that you'll be writing us back again, going, my 18-year-old son just turned 18 and cut off all contact with us, and I don't see what I did wrong. We'll be waiting. Because one thing about Reddit, they got a long history. I mean, they long memory. They remember stories. So that's my 2 cents. Mafia video of the week. Thiz, I'm glad you are on the show tonight. The truth about the housing market.
Posted by an honest to God Karen on Facebook. Stop crying and do something about your life. Typical baby boomer sentiment. My parents bought a house for $35,000 with 2 low-middle income jobs. They were 21 years old. Today, that house is worth $650,000, thanks to 40 years of exponential inflation. If a 21-year-old today was to buy the same house with the price adjusted back down to 1970s inflation, it would only cost $120,000 in today's money. If my parents had to pay $120,000 for this house in the 70s, well, that would quite simply be ludicrous. There isn't a bank in the land that wouldn't have laughed them out of the office. To expect Generation Ys to do the same as boomers did is not only ridiculous, it's just plain ignorant. Our hard work and our money simply doesn't go as far as yours did. Our money is worth a lot less than what yours was worth. Not an opinion, it's a fact. But please, keep telling us how lazy we are, how stupid we are for racking up $100,000 in student loans for jobs we can't get, and how hard you had it.
So I hear this argument a lot, and there's issues with it. Relative as far as money is concerned, it wasn't easy for them either. You know, $30,000 a year to them was big money. A lot of people could not get a house. A lot of them couldn't get a house because of laws that prevented them from having houses, like if you were, Black or Latino or something like that. But then it was also a matter of $30,000 was not easy to come by, and there weren't the same, abundance of mortgages and things sitting around to help you creatively get into that house. So I get like the fight or whatever, but I think it's the wrong fight. To me, the better fight to take on with the boomers is that, given how difficult or easy or however they view their history to have been, they are the demographic that made it harder for the next generations to have anything. They are the ones who basically robbed the piggy bank, right? The boomer generation is the first generation after their foreparents that didn't worry about passing their wealth on. They're the first generation that wanted to consume and consume and consume and consume. They don't want to retire. They built an environment where the cost of things is skyrocketed, and they're the ones who control incomes and salaries, which is depressed the ability for incomes to rise, so that a $34,000 in this example, that's now 100 and whatever he said it was, $150,000 house now. First of all, you're not gonna find $150,000, but that house, right? If you adjusted it, then people will be able to afford that house, right? That's the argument that this person's making, but they're not making the real point, which is wage theft. Things get more expensive with time. That's just reality. Like when I hear people talking about prices need to come down, that's not how life works, folks. There's no time in history that you can reliably look at and be like, prices went down. That's not how it works. You don't even want that world. You don't want that world. The problem is incomes stopped rising. You know, so let's fight the right fights. And just being mad at boomers for being boomers is like just being mad at white people for being white, or just being mad at gay people for being gay, or like this is a systemic issue. It's layered. Um, Corporations have reasserted their dominance. They're back to how they were in the 1910s and 1920s. And if corporations are acting like they were in the 1910s and 1920s, what also happened during the 1910s and 1920s? Extreme poverty, extreme lack. We are dealing with what goes along with corporate excess. So fight the right fights. That's my biggest thing, man. It's like fight the right fights. We're making enemies out of the only people who can help you fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need the corporations to help fix this. You need wealthy people to help fix this. There are no such thing as good billionaires. If you believe that, then you got one heck of a fight on your hands, because they're the ones that got the power. You need to find your good ones to have them help you. But that's just my take. That's a whole nother thing. But no, that's my thing with this video is I get the sentiment. I get the frustration. The frustration is real. It's sincere. This argument is waged so often, but it's really comes across as you're just venting and you needed somebody to direct your anger at. And so boomers are convenient to do it because you don't know your facts, but you know a little bit more facts than the boomer you're talking to. So you're attacking the boomer. It's not constructive.
I think he was attacking this woman, which I see what you're saying. Instead of attacking this woman, he attacked the whole generation.
Well, he was attacking this woman because that's the one who was in front of him, but he used her as a proxy for her entire group.
Yeah.
Right. And this woman, I don't know her. We didn't get any really descriptions on her. She could be wealthy, or she could be normal, or she could be poor. We don't know, but she is the representative for this moment, for this person of her generation. And her generation has a lot to account for. It's just the wrong fight. To me, I'm not an economist. I'm not a historian. I'm none of those things. So it's just, to me, it's the wrong fight.
All right, people. Last segment of the night.
Oh,
sorry, Anna. Ooh.
No, honestly, there's not much to add.
I apologize.
No.
Foxy's videos of the week. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. It would truly help the channel to grow. Right now, we at 758, and we're already halfway through the year. So, really looking at, I don't know, we'll get to 1,000, but I would love to get to like at least 800, 850 before the end of the year. So, it's all right. Compared to where we started off at, woo, we grew. So anyway, words of wisdom.
Always try your best, and God will make you rest. Even if it doesn't work, at least you're tired. Don't give up on giving up. When there's a will, there's inheritance. Always trust your instantaneous combustion, because looks can be deceiving. Never judge a book cover it, because by the end of the day, good night.
Okay.
Remember these chosen by Foxy.
Foxy, yeah. I honestly, I don't know what to say to a lot of these videos. They're amusing.
Let's just take it as entertainment. Because
Okay. Okay.
that's all they ought to be. But this next one, when your girl got your back.
Yeah, I'm at the hospital and I'm not going to be able to come in today. They're running tests right now. They're doing an IV. And I will let y'all know what's going on with me once I leave the hospital.
You said when your girl got your back, it seemed like it was him who's got her back.
I mean, he got her back.
Yeah. What was going on?
Go ahead,
She
Mom.
trying to get out of work so they can binge watch Netflix. So I'm gonna show you the video again. Just keep in mind that she's trying to call out of work because she's pretending that she's in the hospital.
Okay.
And the buttons that he's pushing sounds like that sound that you hear at the hospital.
Oh, he's got a soundboard or something. Okay.
No,
he's using the microwave.
He's using the microwave. So, yeah, I'll show it to you again.
Yeah, I'm at the hospital and I'm not going to be able to come in today. They're running tests right now. They're doing an IV. And I will let y'all know what's going on with me once I leave the hospital.
I love his facial expression. He's so sincere.
Yeah.
He's so sincere.
He has this look on his face like, I really hope this works. I hope this works. Really concentrating on the cadence of these buttons.
Gotta get it right.
Gotta get it right the first time. You won't get it again the second time.
She did it pretty well.
Yeah. He did.
That's how it sounds. I know.
Last video of the night. Again, thank you everybody that came out. HBCUs will HBCU.
So 2 things. Well, whatever things. I don't know. I don't even have a number. I love my people. We're dope. We're dope. You know what I'm saying? You can't. The only other people I think would put that kind of flavor on something like that might be the Latino community. They can get down like that too, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of this stuff is inspired by African rhythm too. But I loved it. When my bonus child just graduated high school this year. Shout out to you, baby girl. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud of you. And at her thing, they did that. They did that song and they were doing a dance. I don't know that stuff. I don't do line dance. But
enjoying good music.
Yeah, but they were having a good time and doing all those things. That's real cool. was real cool. You know, as you were leading into the video, you were talking about HBCUs going to HBCU, but I'm just like, no, that's just black folks having a good time, man. I love it.
I wondered what he meant by that, actually.
It's about just kind of like that energy, because you know
Okay.
HBCU black college, right? So it's that energy, you know. It's not going to be. It's not always going to be the traditional, like they did the pomp and circumstance that we all know that we hear, but usually that's it. You know,
Okay.
part of the celebratory nature of our community, we're gonna have a good time. So the pomp circumstance, flipped it, let the kids actually, you know, show out for a second, have a good time, be relaxed, get the crowd involved. You know, that's cool. It's cool. I don't know why the man just like dipped out and left us. You know what I'm saying?
Because Foxy is
Don't
down.
blame Foxy. Why you always blaming
No,
Foxy?
no. Foxy is downstairs with rap music on, yelling at the top of her lungs, and all I hear, I'm upstairs with a closed door, and all I hear was, hey, 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 hey. And I'm like, wait a minute now, is that Foxy? Somebody breaking into my house? What is going on?
Oh, dear.
So I got off to go, hey, what's going on down there? She was like, oh, I'm at the club now. I'm okay. I'm like, hold up, man. Because I don't have. Hey,
Poor Marlon.
I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and grab my bat over here. Let's go ahead and get to. Go ahead and do what we got to do. But anyway, you took the words right out of my mouth. The first thing, I love my people. I hate the song. They played that song way too much, way too many times.
Okay.
And it burned down on me. I don't want to hear that song for the rest of my life, and I'm sick of fans. I'm done with it.
That's the fact that the fans are part of the song is how this is going to die. So the fan part is like really fun for people. They live for that moment when they can do this piece. But it's not going to live like the cha-cha slide and the electric slide. It's not going to live like those because it's a fad. Like it became a fad as opposed to being a dance. So I don't think it's going to live for long. I think it might make it one more year. But by then we'll have a new one. We'll have a new line.
So we already got a whole bunch of them.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of line dances. I don't know none of them. I can cha-cha, but that's because he tells me what to do.
I learned the Cupid one.
The Cupid Shuffle?
No, it's he got a new one out. Hold on. Because it's always on my feed.
See, Marlon like to dance. I don't do that.
Flex. And the funny thing about it is, this is why I love my people. He did the video, Cupid Before Flex at Jackson State University. So he know where he's from. But to be honest with you, Theas, I kind of cheated, but that's the kind of line dancing person I am because they put the directions in the song. So unless you don't know, can't follow directions, you know, they'll tell you step to the left, step to the right.
They better tell me.
Step backwards.
They better tell me because I don't know. I don't even know. I need you to tell me. And then you're confusing me. They were like, cha-cha now. I'm like, okay, so what's the cha-cha? Okay, Charlie Brown now. Which one is Charlie Brown?
Cha-cha-cha.
And the funny thing about the Charlie Brown thing is, if you don't realize, there's about 20, 30 versions of Charlie Brown.
Yeah. Look, man,
Charlie Brown now. I done seen the hop back and forth, but then I done seen the. Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, that's what we did last week.
I did not learn. I did not grow up immersed in traditional Black culture. I didn't. So some of the stuff that's just what you do, I don't know it. I love it. I can feel the beat in my bones. The ancestors are whispering in my ear. I still ain't gonna goddamn dance because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Right now, you turn on some Chicago's two-step. I got you. I do the Chicago two-step. I can do a little bit of salsa. I do a little bit of merengue. Great thing about salsa and merengue is it ain't nothing but stealing from African culture anyway. So you can kind of move those right because it's a two-step. Once you get into like bachata is a two-step. So it's just at a different clip. It's a different pace, right? But
ahead of me because
I'm not a dancer, so I'm awkward. I feel very awkward. I feel like everybody in the world is watching me and judging my timing. So I don't want to do it.
Nobody looking at you. Nobody.
I know. Like I was talking to my wife about this because I'm a weird person. I am, right? I have a lot of issues because my brain doesn't operate like most people. So like intellectually, I know the reality that's out there. But internally, I'm processing on a whole nother level. So it's like, ain't nobody watching me, but everybody's watching me.
Neurospectral people do that all the time.
It is goofy. I was telling my wife, it's like, I was trying to explain, I don't know if you guys ever watched the show Malcolm in the Middle.
I've seen a few.
It's on Hulu. It's an old show, but goodness, that is a great show. It is a hilarious show about a dysfunctional family, but the main character in the family is a genius, right? He's like stupid, dumb, smart, but he's in this family of misfits, and and he's a misfit too. He's just smart, but he was trying to explain to this kid because he finally met a kid who was smarter than him. And the kid is younger than him. So he was like, and I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but I just want to convey the point because it's how my brain works. He was trying to say to this little kid, he's like, how do you do this? How do you function? Because my brain is so loud. It's like bees. It's like a hive of bees in my head at all times. And that's literally how it is for me. There is no quiet time in my head. That's why I talk so much on here, because once I start talking, it starts coming, right?
Gotcha.
So it's very loud, super, super loud. And the young kid, he asked, he said, well, in his own little dry way, he's like, because he's almost like a Sheldon kind of personality. He was like, well, those bees, imagine each of those bees is in a band, and each of those bands are playing a different song. That's what it's like in my head all the time. Like, like the noise of the bees is bad enough. Could you imagine that number of bees, each leading its own band, each doing its own thing? And that's how the next level of intelligence is moving, right? So it's like, people don't know how exhausting it can be. And then when I see people who aren't afflicted with this mental issue, and I'm not talking about intelligence, I'm talking about just this is a mental issue. So people who don't have that mental issue, who are able to just move in a calm mode, like they don't take any more in than they have to. They can turn their brain off from time to time.
Yeah.
I can't relate to them.
See, the funny thing about me, I'm the opposite with one issue that I have. I try to oversimplify things to the point where I don't want people to think that I think they're idiots, and I have to explain to them at an elementary level to get my point across. I'm really not trying to do that at all. It's just how my mind works. And I'll give you an example of a show that does that. It's called Numbers. And it was shows. Yeah, it's a boy genius that works for the FBI because his brother is in charge of one of the departments.
Okay.
But he was a genius since he was a little kid. But his brother was older than he was. And the parents always showed him not favoritism at all, but they had to be more favorite to him because he was the outlier in the community and the neighborhood and schools and everything else.
Good morning.
But now that they're older and everything, they work together. Anyway, my point is, he is super smart.
Okay.
Like he seemed to be the person who I really think that he's like 25 years old now on the show, and he became a professor in the college that he went to. He's just that type of person. So he works for the FBI, and what he does is he always uses math to help with crimes, with cases. But when he talks to them, it's always something like, you know what? I'm just throwing some words out there because I'm gonna butcher everything I've ever heard him on the show. You know what? I can do a conduit mentality Q reality or this using binds infinite something or other.
Okay.
Or they're the FBI and they're looking at him like, what? And he'll say, okay, imagine this. And he'll give you the most simplest story that all of them can understand. And it's amazing. Like,
Oh, I
the
love
very
teachers like that.
yeah, I'll give you an example. I'll never forget his first example was they was trying to find a serial killer, but he would do it in so many random places they could never catch him. They knew it was the same person, but it's not like there was a pattern. So he looks outside and he looks at the sprinkler. And he said, look at how the sprinkler is just spraying water all over the place. There is no math on the face of the planet that would tell you where the droplets are going to drop. But you could always tell by the angle in which it's coming from, that you could tell where the origin of where the sprinkler head is. So his brother was like, wait a minute. So you could tell us that pinpoint? He said, I can get you in a good ballpark where he lives. I mean, and that's how I do stuff because my mind, especially when I'm upset, I will regurgitate 50,000 words that come out of my mouth. And I know I see both you and Anna sit there and go, and I'm like, okay, let me explain myself because when I said it out loud, it made sense to me. So let me explain what I meant. And I say it, and I don't want it to come out like, okay, let me speak to you like you're a 5-year-old. Okay, with a daddy and a mommy love each other. I don't want to be that type of person. But I see what you're saying is like, I'm the emotional person, not as emotional as Anna. Because when I'm mad, that's my emotion. Anna's the sweet person on the show. I am not that sweet. I'm sorry. I can't anymore.
Personally, I think I'm quite emotionally balanced. Thank you very much.
You haven't been emotionally balanced since you've been on the show.
Actually, yes. Yes, I have.
No.
I'll be right back.
But I just never wanted to seem like I'm coming off like I'm trying to talk to y'all like grade schoolers.
Well, my big thing is I, not to, over divulge, but it's like I am reaching that point where I've always known that I don't fit or make sense with most people. And that's fine. It's just who and what I am. But I'm starting to turn that corner where it's like I'm smart enough to realize that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. So then I have to wrestle with that. It's this really weird. I don't even know how to explain it. And that's part of my issue. I don't know how to take what I'm thinking and succinctly express it. I always use way too many words.
I get what you're saying because in my family, at least to me, when it comes to news of national or international, the family comes to me. What's going on? Who's involved? How did this happen? And everything else. And I'll give them the information that I know and everything else. Now, to them, I'm very intelligent when it comes to these situations. Then I get on the show with you and Anna, and it's like, I ain't no shit. Because y'all just, if this happened, and this person, and don't forget back in 1842 when this happened, and then I'm like, dang.
Well,
Like,
that's different. That's a matter of what you consume. So, like, you consume a lot of things that feed into how you build the show. So, you know a lot about these different Reddit stories. You got a better understanding of like how you can use this technology to get you to where you need to go to be able to put a show together, and what you can do it in an hour, what it would probably take me 3 days, right? It's just about what you consume. So if you looked at my YouTube history, some of it's a little chaotic, but most of it is 8 different perspectives on the Iran-Israel conflict. Then I have another one that's talking about woodworking. And I got another one that's talking about how do you properly jack up a car. And I got another one talking about the difference between sand and soil. And I got another one, like the way I consume information is I'm just curious about learning. So I'm constantly just pulling and pulling information in, no rhyme or reason in some cases. It's just a matter of, haven't seen this before. And then I'm just pulling it in. And then when it's political, it's like, I've expressed this before, but like with politics, I don't take politics but so seriously. Like politics is a tool to me. It is not a way for me. So I look at it and I'm like, look, first of all, they're not even talking to me. Everything that I pull up, you're not even talking to me. Okay. Except for there's certain ones that I know they're talking to me. Right. But by and large, you pull up any media story from various things, they're talking to their audience. I just happen to be listening in on it. So I don't take it to heart. So it's just one more perspective for me. And then I always function in a world where I need multiple perspectives. I can't just have my one perspective. That's why I get frustrated sometimes when we're having some of our more deeper conversations, because I'm stuck in nuance land. I can't do this is what happened. Like, I'm like, well, I mean, this is what happened, but I mean, what about how this happened? And this is how it informed this. And then and I get lost in my explanation. And then I'm just like, all right, I give up. Mm-hmm. But my brain is still going. Like right now, my brain is still. That's why I kept talking. My brain kept talking. If y'all don't say something, I just.
No. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and close this show out. With this explanation of why I'm not that much into the politics and everything like I used to be, but it seems like I'm going to have to be now again, is because I did not want to go to sleep with that on my mind.
No. I'm not saying why are you not into politics like you were. I'm saying why do you feel like you have to change gears now?
Why do I have to start looking into it now?
So yeah, why do you have to turn up your frequency now?
Because what I think I need to do is start watching it a little sooner than late at night content, which is what I was doing. that was what was bothering me, but that I need to stop doing that. I'm going to look up some content. Let's look it up as early as I can, get the information, and be done with it.
I thought you were saying because you haven't, like you weren't as abreast on some of the things that's been going on with the Iran-Israel thing, that you had to start consuming more. And what my thing, and I'm no psychologist or anything like that, but I would say there's nothing that has happened that would benefit you taking in more, right?
Oh no.
Because when it comes to global, and this, so I'm talking to the people out there in the world, this is a global issue we are dealing with now. This is fully international. You can't stop Trump from doing nothing militarily. There's nothing you can do about it. It's the one of the few parts of our government that he ain't got to ask nobody permission for, except Congress, but Congress ain't gonna do nothing. So increasing your awareness of the nuances of what's happening will only disturb your peace. It's just not all that worth it, folks. Whatever has been occupying your attention, I would say that's where you focus more on, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is going to stress people who are already dealing with high anxiety, high overload. This can really cause more damage, I think. I don't know.
It's going to. And that's why. And I agree with you, everything. I didn't say I was going to take it more. I'm just going to say I'm going to take it sooner. Compartmentalize it and let's move on with life. And tell everybody where they can find you. Or do you want to add to the conversation before we even go off the air?
So this is one of the different ways my brain can go. Totally cut off from any pathway to go. I can't grab information. Apologize because, like, suddenly I realized my dog was still in the crate, and I missed probably about a third of the conversation. I wasn't exactly sure where you were when I came back.
Basically, all we really was talking about is how our minds work. That's basically how it is, how we take in information, how we communicate the information that's in our heads back out.
I think it's important to know and especially have a picture. You know, now that I have something like bees, to know that this, your brain is always going. It helps me understand and be able to hopefully strengthen my communication and ability to reach in and grab at the times that I want to, you know? I find these conversations fascinating and I've yet to find the two brains that work exactly alike, right? You know? So going to I lost it. I love it. I appreciate that conversation. Thank you. You can find me at Burley, etc. Spelling right down here. And here on the weekends.
All right. Diaz?
Yep, you can find me on YouTube at Complex Mind Simple Man. And you can find me on ourunitedcore.com. And you can find me most consistently right here with Marlon and Anna on Radical Truth to Power. Sometimes I flake there too. So, hey.
All right, tomorrow. All right, Mafia. Grab your popcorn for tomorrow. It's going to be an intense conversation. You should know by now we do not hold back on this show. I have a feeling we ain't gonna hold back tomorrow either. And it's good. To the point where I'm gonna say this right here and right now. I am suspending the no curse in the first hour of the show because I think I find that virtually impossible not to. I'm not speaking for Theas and I'm not speaking for Anna, but I am speaking for myself. I will not be able to hold this conversation without a couple of inappropriate words. So, yeah. Tomorrow, the cuss of the first hour has been suspended. Just for tomorrow now. Just for tomorrow.
Well, this is for you, bro. I don't need that. I don't need that.
We'll try, yeah.
But yeah, man, these are interesting times. You know, every generation gets their trial, gets their test, and this is our generation. It's the turn. So
this has so many likings to the Iraq War beginning for what the media is putting out. I mean, sorry. We'll talk about that now.
Yeah, in a way, just as you brought that up, it's actually kind of worse than that to me because at least with the other wars we had a lead up. You know, so we got like if you remember back to either the first Desert Storms or the Iraqi freedom things. In both cases, we had lead ups. Like we had the History Channel ran a whole bunch of war stories, and the cable channels had different. You know, it's like everything is helping to shift the nation into.
Even I remember the yellow ribbons, and I was still quite young at that point.
But this time, I would dare say 80% of the population is not in favor of this. So there's been no lead up. You have not sold us on this thing. You're just doing this thing. And here
you sold us, but you were exactly the opposite. I mean, this whole, none of the conflicts would have happened if I was in the Oval Office. He did market himself as a peacetime president. Yes.
I don't get that. I keep hearing that. I don't get that.
Yeah, all of the evidence in the past speaks so loudly to the contrary.
I'm gonna cut y'all off right now, including Anna, because I know I hate doing that to Anna.
That's okay.
If y'all come on here tomorrow and y'all just give me the answers and everything else because you've already said everything tonight, I'm gonna be upset. I'm telling you right here, right now.
No,
I don't want to repeat that because I said it last night, but no. Repeat it.
So, Theas, what do you think about the war? It's bad.
It's bad. It's very, very bad.
And it's going to get worse.
Well, that's a true statement.
So, buckle up, buttercups.
Buckle up, buttercups. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, non-conforming individuals, and, of course...
I'm assuming you're LGBTQ.
I appreciate this. I appreciate Anna. And until next time, we will see you when we see you. Peace.
Be lost. The best thing that happened this week, Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz.
I know. I couldn't believe it. If you haven't seen that, go watch it.
I'm going to go watch it now. Yeah. Okay, y'all. Bye.